My name is Havila Dharmaraj and I teach Old Testament at a seminary in Bangalore, South India, and I'm a Langam scholar. I think my love for the Bible itself started when I was about 10 years old, and I used to be taken for these midweek Bible studies in church. But after one of these Bible studies, the gentleman who was doing the Bible study said, "Now, are there any questions?" And I put up my hand and I asked a question. And then when I got back home, my father said, "Don't ever do that again. Women are not allowed to talk in church and certainly not allowed to put up their hands and ask questions." And so then I thought to myself, oh, I suppose this sort of thing isn't for me. It's only for men. That's what I thought when I was 10. India is a particularly patriarchal setup. Not only do we have a hierarchy in which men are at the top and women occupy the lower half, but beyond that we have the caste system. So that's an added tone to the oppression.
In a traditional Indian context, most of your identity comes from the family you belong to or the caste you belong to.
The Indian society believe that God has created you differently. You've come from a different part of the body, and so because of that, you are different. You cannot be here, you only can be over here. That's just your lot in life. But because it's hierarchical, oppression starts to take place. There are some terrible, terrible stories of the way it pans out. My big response to how do we change the caste system is a theological answer. We have to change on how we see people. And that's how God tells us that we're all created as images of God.
I don't know if I'm supposed to say this on cameras, but she does not belong to the higher caste in India. People from the higher caste get more opportunity to teach, more opportunity because they're considered the academics, they're considered the brain, they're given more importance in a public forum to speak.
I see my PhD as a door. Theology certainly can change culture, and that's the reason why education is so important. To be able to speak with authority, to have a PhD authorizes you, it gives you the credentials you need to be able to speak into society and be heard. It gives you a voice, and with that, it's possible for a trickle-down effect, for empowering those who are in the lower categories. I take great joy in experiencing almost on an everyday basis the breaking down of these barriers.
So when I first joined, there was no women faculty. So for me to have someone like that was inspiring in the sense that I could see that, okay, this is possible, that it's not something out of reach. Her opening the door for me has been very instrumental in getting into the career that I am now at this point in my life. It's not just me, but I have seen so many other people that she has sort of adopted and said, okay, you want to do this, you want to do that.
She looks at people for their potential and works with that person continuously. It is about finding what that person is good at and making him the best at that.
Little did I know that I would end up doing a PhD, but she's the one who instilled actually belief in me that I could do it. So even if you were to come to our church, when they look at how I do a Bible study or preach the text, I always tell them Dr. Havila's played a huge role in my life to pick up this.
Working alongside Dr. Havila, she just has this way of helping you fan the gift to flame. And you know that when I'm struggling, there's this person who has gone ahead of me in this journey, who knows how to encourage me in diligence and in excellence.
What motivates me is a huge sense of gratitude and perhaps obligation in the best possible way to what's been invested in me. And of course Langam that saw me through that PhD, and I'm thinking of all those who stood behind Langam to make my PhD happen. When I heard I was going to get a Langam scholarship, it just meant that somebody was going to pay for my tuition. That's all it meant then. It's only now in retrospect, more than 10 years later, I look back and think that was life-changing. My life is never the same again.
What Langam has done for Dr. Havila, it's not just stayed with her. I'm actually a grand student to her. She invested in one person and that person invested in my life. The chain goes on.
I don't see myself as somebody like super special or anything. I am in a race that has gone on for 2000 years. fitting myself back into that great big picture, into what God is doing, the mission of God. I've plugged in into something that's so much bigger than I am.